Nexxlegacy.
Fenty Beauty by Rihanna was created with the promise of inclusion for everyone, with an unmatched offering of shades and colors for all skin tones. You'll never look elsewhere for your beauty staples. Danaya Azure Radio is now sponsored by Fenty Beauty. Browse their foundation line, lip colors, and so much more. All you have to do is go to www.danayaazure.com. That's www.danayaazure.com. And click on the link that says Nexxlegacy Fenty.
Nexxlegacy.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and you're tuned into Danaya Azure Radio.
Hello, Noel and Dexter. Welcome to Danaya Azure Radio. How are you?
I'm great.
Good, good. How you doing?
And we are blessed to have the phenomenal CEO of Nexxlegacy, Mr. Charles Madison, in the building as well.
Hey. What's up?
Vibes.
Yes. So I got connected to Kyle and Dexter through some of our amazing partners over at Smash Coast. They are doing some really, really phenomenal work with some incredible musicians all over the world. So Kyle, how did you originally get into music?
Well, it started with my unfortunately with my father's passing, and I was sent to this north part of the island of Trinidad and Tobago. Firstly, I'm from the Caribbean. I don't know if you know the Caribbean well, from Trinidad and Tobago. That's the last country on the before Venezuela. So from there, I went to my aunt's home and to recuperate, I guess, with my mom facing so much of loss. I have four other siblings, and in my aunt's home, there's a steel pan, and my uncle and my cousin, they play it. So it was like the first time I saw it, I went to it, I played well, and my uncle just started teaching me songs. Actually, the first song I learned was a song called Falling in Love with You. You should imagine an 8-year-old playing this song. I don't have the idea what it means. But I guess I was good at it. And then he took me to something called a panyard. A panyard is like an orchestra's, what we call an orchestra room, but just all the steel pans. But the whole spectrum from soprano to bass. And I would start to develop my skills from there. And I became pretty good at it. And I started winning competitions, major competitions in the country. And one of the top competitions in the country, I was one of the last to become first place winner.
Wow.
And it enabled me to travel the world. And I met a lot of great musicians from different walks of life, from US, from Britain, Caribbean, and even in Asia. And also a lot of other pan players too. Open up my scope. But in those beautiful moments, I also had some disappointments. So from there, I came back home, and I went into the energy sector where I started to work as a electrical engineer. So I was offshore. I'm also an offshore technician. Besides a musician. Yeah. And then from there, that for 10 years, and then from there, I went into teaching. So between being an electrical engineer and a teacher, I was developing my musical skills, learning the guitar, learning the keyboards, learning different instruments, and listening to different music, and developing a new style of the steel pan too. So I met a mentor, one of the best musicians in our country, who plays with 4 sticks, just like like a marimba player who plays
right.
like
Yes.
Right. So normally steel pan players plays with 2 sticks. So I play with 4 sticks. So I developed that technique. And between the oil or the technician work and the teacher work, that technique was perfected. So after teaching, I teach for 10 years also. I taught for 10 years, and I started developing other skills, teaching skills, new teaching tools, and new ideas to create new songs of the steel pan and new music for the steel pan. And here am I now. At this point in my life where I'm very proud because it enabled me to create my own studio. This is my studio here. I built,
Awesome.
I built my studio just really actually, it was intentional for only steel pan players because steel pan players don't have a place to record for them. And
Hmm.
I dedicated my time for that and my energy and my knowledge to them and us just to make this thing possible. And that's really it in a nutshell.
No, I love it. I think it's so powerful to be able to say that you were able to take an instrument that has been used for years and find a whole new way to play it. So, what are the difficulties though in the way that you are playing it now compared to what the way people typically play the steel pan?
Um, the first thing first, steel pan is our national instrument, and the technique for the steel pan is in two sticks. So it have different types of pans. It have the pan, the singular one with a circular, and then you have a double of the circular, so two of the same. Sometimes you have triple, which is three, and then you have six, which is big bass. So I play the singular one. My mentor is known for his four sticks technique with the double pan, which is easier because you could separate your hand, isolate your hands on left and right. I took that and put it in with the singular pan. So I have the two sticks right here. So I had to develop a new technique. I guess my biology is it was easy for me to adapt and find new techniques. So I can't say how difficult it was. It was, I think I know how to use my body and know myself and apply that to the instrument. So if someone is trying to do the same, my advice to them is to understand your anatomy and then apply yourself to the instrument and it will make it easier. It's just a simple challenge in knowing yourself.
Absolutely. And so, you're not only a musician and a teacher, but you also are a producer, correct?
Correct, correct. And all of that was developed between the engineering life to the teacher's life. That was developed in that.
And so, what is would you say is your favorite music genre to work with, and why?
Sorry, can you
What
repeat that?
What is your favorite music genre to work with, and why?
I like all. That's a difficult question. I love all because they all speak to me. I live in a country where we are a cosmopolitan island. So we have Indians, we have whites, we have Chinese, we have. I mean, we're right on the top of Venezuela. So Latin music is always here. Um, so I'm exposed to everything, and then the American music as well. I think the whole world is bombarded with American music, and there are beautiful music from since the '50s, from jazz to funk, disco, pop, hip hop, everything like that. I am absorbing all of that, so I can't really say one. I just believe in good music. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me ask a question. Just kind of hearing your development as far as how you became who you are, was it what got you into music? I know you mentioned your dad's passing. Was it not just that triggered something musically in you, but was it a specific song? Was it a moment in time in addition to that made you a true believer of what you can be able to do musically?
That's a good question. What I recall, I heard my mom said when I was inside of her in her womb, my father had this habit of playing these James Brown records and Michael Jackson records a lot, and Earth, Wind and Fire. So yeah, those albums. So those were the three albums I was constantly playing. And she's like, every time I played, her belly used to be, I used to be kicking and moving stuff like that. So they always knew that I was into music from a womb. And then I remember when I was about 2 3 years old. You know when you're listening to music on your radio on a stereo those days, like in the '90s. I'm sitting next to the stereo and I'm listening to the music, and in my mind, there are people inside of those speakers. So all of this, I was just fascinated by sound all the time. But when he passed away, and I was never by those time I was never around instruments. But when he passed away, and I went to my aunt's home, it had a lot of instruments there. So it was steel pan, guitar, and a keyboard. So that triggered, I think, all those senses from the womb to now to then, and that kind of wakened everything up.
What's interesting is I hear that a lot. Like even my daughter, like I used to either sing to her or I would put like before she was even born, you know what I mean? Like I would put what is it, a headphone on her
Okay.
mom's stomach, right? Like I would do stuff like that. But singing, because it's interesting, because and when you're in the womb, you can hear clearly, because when I would speak or say something, you would get that kick or something like that. So it's interesting that you poured into just how you became enamored with music. I also think, what are your thoughts in general when it comes to just the love of music versus the like of, or I'm just doing it just to do it? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because when I hear you talk, and I see you now, so when I see and hear you talk, I get that sense that you have a passion for this. You would live for this. You would die for this. It's kind of what I believe in. So what are your thoughts about just, that feeling versus how commercialized it's trying to become right now? Because we need all the love in the world we can when it comes to music, because music could, inspire us. It could, it could send us down a humbling path as well. It's just very, very vital that we get in touch with our feelings when it comes to music. What are your thoughts?
It's one of the most I appreciate that question so much. I've never been asked that question in my entire life. Um, so let me take my time and observe that. Um, Someone who likes music for commercial, I can't judge that type of person. I really can't relate to that. However, I could observe it and understand why it's so, because of the repetitive system or the machinery of radio and internet and the phone and that kind of thing. But when it comes to passion, that feeling that you're talking about there, that's innate. I think we come with that. And those who have that mandate to produce music and play music from the heart center, that's not just a purpose only. That's a mission. And once you recognize that mission, as you said, you will die for it, or you'll die doing it. So I think that's the separation there. So that person who's liking it will absorb it, and yeah, if something's happening to them, they will just give up. Even if they're participating in producing it, there's a timeline for that. But those who have that passion in, I don't think they have a timeline. They just go until the ship ends. Let's keep going, That's my answer. Humbly.
Definitely, and I think it's so interesting that you talked about how your parents used to play Earth, Wind, and Fire. I was telling Dexter right before you came on that at the time that we're recording this, on the next show, we're actually going to be getting flowers of Earth, Wind, and Fire. So it's just interesting to see. Yes, and the same way that you guys seen it last week, we gave flowers to the Jackson legacy. We do that. We do that every week. That's the one thing. That's the one thing that I love about the station, for sure. And I know he talks about, how some music is like popular music or whatever. The biggest thing that I told you this, that I love to do is break artists and have something different. That's why you're very rarely going to hear any of the same songs on the station in one day, unless you're listening to a Nexxlegacy Honors.
It's such an amazing concept you all have. This unique.
Most definitely, and I think
Can I say this? Because I feel like it's important to have dialogue like this where we can be able to talk freely and not, have an agenda when it comes to specific things about what we do, how we say, what we consume, and things like that too. Like, we're in the world where we consume, where a lot of people consume like things because it's the norm. Like, oh, I'm just looking
Yeah.
at this, or I'm playing this because I'm supposed to play it, or whatever the case may be. Denaya's right. We do want to break records. Denaya is also right. Because not just the station, but what we do, we want to provide avenues for people to uplift their art form, whatever it may be it if it's music, some form of entertainment, some craft that they really are passionate about, that will go back to the words that I say. I would live for this. I would die for this, hands down, no matter what. So it's very important. So talk to us and talk to the listeners and people who will be listening about just the importance of the craft of who you are and what you want to be. You don't want to consume yourself with what other people are doing. Find that line between understanding what they do and doing certain things on your own, so you can be able to carve out that legacy you really and truly want to have.
That's correct. That's beautiful. That's I kind of know. Is that a question, or you
Yes, it
making a?
is. Yes, it is. Listen, it's a question, and it's just facts as far as how I feel about certain things. When you hear
Yeah.
me talk, I'll ask you a question, but then I'll give you my thoughts, so you can either add on or whatever the case may be. But that's how I roll, man. I want to embrace debate or conversation. So, what are your thoughts? Like, it's a question, but I still want your thoughts.
Well, one of the things that I observe, because since it's only been a week, Dexter, we met.
Yeah. It's been a week. Yeah, about a week and a half. Yeah.
I don't know. Ever so often, I have stuff going on. I will still go online and take in the program and to the station. I'm in the States a lot every year. Every so I'll be in New York. I'll be in different states taking the stuff. But the one thing I will say that was unique is the fact that what she just said, things are not, it's not like a 10 song playlist that keeps repeated and it's just programming your brain into this one group of people. It's like you're giving these people a plethora of music and let them know the landscape of song over different time zones too. So it's almost like a time machine. That's why I feel like the station is like a time machine. And that is healthier, especially in this time that we're in, to expand the listeners into the new possibility. And plus we could identify those new songs that we have, that those songs are actually remixes of a lot of songs from the past. So it's very good that you do that. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And I think that that's the biggest thing, right? Is because we believe that music is supposed to heal. You're supposed to be able to have your energy just booming when you're listening to the radio. You're supposed to be able to have that time and know like this song is what's creating the memory,
Yeah.
right? Without forcing something down someone's throat. So I appreciate that, the fact that you notice that,
Of
and
course.
you notice the fact that we have such a variety of artists. What I love the most is the fact that we have independent artists mixed with mainstream artists, and you can't tell who's who because they're coming right next to each other. And it's the
Love it.
same quality.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. That's healthy. That's healthy. And actually that's I think I thought I that's what I thought when things like Spotify and iTunes, that when that came up, I thought that was their intention. But after time passes, like wait, they're doing the same thing like as the radio station. They're making these playlists and you're categorizing everybody into different levels, and it's not fair. And it just keep creating this rat race again. And it takes away the creativity and the, as what he said, the passion from the artists. They started going to this whole okay formula mode, formula mode, formula mode,
Mhm.
and the people miss moments. So you're not creating moments because when we talk about back in the days, I think people were sing about moments. It's like they sing about moments now, but let's put this in a box, and this box is going to be carried all over the place. The same one box. I'm missing what's in the box.
And it's funny, I was just going to ask you, like, what have you done to ensure that you don't get put into a box and only just be the Caribbean artist? So what have you done to ensure that you are expand and you break that? I say break the damn box.
I I changed my frequency.
Mm.
Literally, like literally change my frequency. So most of the music, I can't say all, but most of the or the majority of music that has been played on Earth right now is in the frequency of 440 hertz. And that has been changed in recent time, 1958, 1953, around there. But the original frequency of sound, which still exists now in nature, is in 432. And when I discovered that, and I realized that being in harmony with nature and the universe and everything, I just simply took my instrument and retuned it. And when I retuned my instrument, that immediately separated me from everybody within my musical community. Because everybody's in 440 and now I'm in 432. So if you had to play with me, like my musicians, they have to tune over the instrument to play with me. So now we created that harmony, not just amongst ourselves, but with nature too. So that's my way of ensuring that I stay out of the box. I went I went with nature.
I love it. That is amazing.
Every
So,
song that you have is in 42 for me.
right. Definitely. So explain that kind of how you even found that because most people don't even understand how frequency works. So how did you like officially like find it and be like, you know what, I have to literally change the frequency that I'm writing in so that I
So
can change the game.
so in my development between that period of working in the oil industry and teaching, while learning musical stuff, I also was unfolding myself. So you're digging into historical stuff like things from the ancient times, Egyptian knowledge, your African center. You start to learn about your body. You start to learn about frequency. I'm also into science too and physics, so you always know about the functions of different frequencies. And then I came across these chakras, and it started to deal with the colors, and then the colors have sound, and then the songs also have shape and vibrations. And I came across this one was just random. I wouldn't say random. Well, I guess once you're in a path, you will pass something that you need. So while being on that path, a video came up talking about this 432, and the 432. I heard about it, you know about it, but you didn't realize the depth and how important it was for one to feel a little more connected to the things that you love. And the things that I love is nature. I live in the Caribbean, so I could open my door right now, and there are trees and birds right now. Like I literally just open my door and it's just green. This is not like you had to drive far and take a sightseeing and stuff like that. I live in nature, so I'm around that all the time. So I started to read about the frequency and what it does and how you're supposed to put your foot on the ground. But I was like, but this is what I just do. As because up in the
Right.
morning, I just walk on my yard barefoot, and I connect. The only thing I don't do is play music in 432. So it's just to complete the whole, I would say, the ignorance. Then I was in ignorance of that fact, and it had to be. It was a challenge, knowing that when I do that, I will be separating myself. I didn't
Gotcha.
mind it. I didn't mind though because it's healthy for me and for those who need it.
But it makes you unique, it makes you stand out, and that's what's gonna make you have timeless music and have epic performances that people are gonna play years later because and be like, oh my gosh, I remember when I was at this show when I saw you. So yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm taking in that. I'm taking in that.
Yes. So you have toured all over the world. What has been one of your favorite places in the world to visit and perform in, and why?
Hmm, it's a good question. Um, I really like the Caribbean countries. Um, but I also like playing in Pittsburgh. I had a gig in Pittsburgh in 2014. I think, yeah, 2014, and At that gig, they had no idea. The people they had no idea about the steel pan, or at least that group of people. And that performance, I had some people from Japan, I had people from Saudi Arabia, I had people from Turkey. It was an Inventors Guild convention. So people from all over the world was in this big auditorium, and I was one of the representatives of our country. I'm playing this instrument. I'm playing music with a guitarist of mine. And it was 4 days of this convention, and every day in the morning we will be there early because our hotel was not too far from the convention. And every morning when we did set up, we just warming up, but our warm up was always like the show, and then we gonna run into the show. So we played like 2 hours straight, even though the gig was for like an hour performance. We didn't mind it. We was just playing because everybody should move from their booths and come to our booth, put down and sit down in their chairs and just take in and just listen to our music whole day. Even when we finish perform, they'll be like, okay, play the next one. And people in different languages talking, but we know what they mean. They want us to play. That was uplifting, and it felt good serving people and knowing that they feel good in what you're doing. And that's one of my memorable experiences. The Caribbean experience too was nice because you're playing your music for them, and they never heard my. As I said, my style is very unorthodox. Is it correct terminology for me, Dexter? But just
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say so.
yeah, it's a lot different. So even though they know the steel pan, but my approach of it is a lot different. So the way they show the love and interest, that also does motivate you too. So I that was what those are my best moments on this planet, playing music.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So, when everything is said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
At least I could contribute to people being awakened and finding themselves through my music. And also I could bring some healing in some way because once I'm in this frequency, I will remain in this frequency. And I know this frequency naturally heals, so I know I have a responsibility to make good music and to become better. So if I can inspire others to do the same and bring healing in doing so, I will continue doing that. And I wish that will remain part of my, not just my legacy, but part of history.
Definitely. I agree. You know, being able to say that that you helped someone, that your music healed someone, and that you are creating pieces that are going to be remembered for years to come is so important.
Yeah.
You have such an amazing energy and just a beautiful spirit. And shout out to Kim for connecting us. She was like, "You gotta hear my artist. She's incredible," and so it's just been an absolute blessing to be able to see you and now working with you because Noel is a Danaya Azure radio partner. So you guys can find his links on Nexxlegacy as well as on my site as well. So
Lovely. I appreciate that.
Yes. So what is on your playlist?
On my playlist.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's really like it's, I have a lot of, I'm not just artists, but I have a lot of Latin music, funk, reggae,
Portuguese.
a lot of samba and bossa nova.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it. Even calypso too. So, you know calypso music,
Yes.
right? So soca, um, rock and roll, the tasty ones. um, jazz, a lot of jazz, the new age jazz, the jazz fusion. That's a lot of that. I think that's where I get vocabulary from. Um, and all these ethnic music too, like music from Ireland, like from Scotland. I listen to everything. My playlist is very odd. Swear to God. You will hear Enya, then you will hear Bob Marley. you know?
Oh no, it's so fun. It's so funny you say our playlist. When we first started, we actually had I remember specifically, we had Nicki Minaj and then Ace of Base right after that. It was so crazy. I was like, wait, what? So it's not even that it's odd, it's just different and it's eclectic and it's
Yes.
unique. Again, which is so important.
Yeah. Music is
So what projects do you have coming up?
Oh, we have many. The recent one that we're going to release is my studio performance that I did 2 months ago. So you're gonna see that also on the social media platforms like YouTube. Also working on putting together a little event. I don't know if I'm doing it in Trinidad yet, but we could do it in St. Thomas or Puerto Rico. And I'm working on the studio side. I don't know if I should reveal this now, but I could tell you because you should know this. Um, we are
love the business here, so yes.
yeah, we put it together. We put it together a steel pan funk album.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be funk and going all the way, costume, everything.
Oh, that's gonna be hot.
Yeah, gonna be something else.
But just before that is gonna be volume 2 to Funky High, which is the Lost Tapes. I'm a piano, Lost Tapes.
Yes.
Nice. So much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dexter.
I love it.
I'm letting you lead the way. You know what I'm saying? Just do your thing.
So go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you, follow you, and most importantly, book you.
Oh yeah. Well, you can find me on all social media platforms on Instagram, Kyle Noel Official, on Facebook, Kyle Noel, on TikTok, 432 Kyle Noel. And you can book me at my website, kylenoelmusic.com.
Awesome sauce. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Thank you, Charles Madison, who came through for a little bit and joined us. Yes. This has been a phenomenal time.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Alrighty, you guys continue to express what makes you unique.
Hi, my name is Kyle, and you're tuned in to Nexxlegacy.
Are you searching for the perfect gift? Or do you just need a unique statement piece for yourself? Well, either way, Danaya Azure help you out. What you need is the S4S jewelry collection by Danaya Designs for You. S4S stands for strictly for a stage. Stand out at your next photo or video shoot. Snag that magazine cover. Go from being a part-time extra to an actor or actress who stays booked. Or just be the talk of the town at every event. Danaya Designs for You jewelry is handcrafted and Chicago made for men, women, and children. To start your collection, simply go to www.danayaazure.com. That's www.danayaazure.com. That's www.danayaazure.com.
Nexxlegacy.